Hello everyone, this is Mr. On Gamer from the Zucreta MMORPG channel. Alright, this time we'll be talking with Jerry. Jerry, say hey.
Hey.
Oh, nice one there, nice one there. Alright, Callum from...
Yo.
He's from none of the Zucreta channels, but he's here. Just say hey.
Hello.
Hey. No one else has anything to say but hey. Well, let's try this again. Alright, Zazar, the Zucreta director. He's a guy who puts 50-minute out long videos that you all watch. Say hey.
Greetings.
See, that one is much better than you guys. Why do you do introductions like that? Huh? Jerry?
I thought I'd make it lengthy like my videos are.
Yeah, your videos.
Yeah, it is just too mainstream these days.
Alright, yeah, so what we're talking about today, first of all, is weekly MMO experiences. But has anyone had an experience this week, Jerry? Have you had a good experience this week in MMOs?
Yeah, I mean, I tried out for the first time over Lord of the Rings online, which there will be a video for that soon.
Ooh.
And I actually quite enjoyed it. It was, obviously I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings, so I found it a lot easier to enjoy than some people other, but it's a very simple MMO experience. Yeah, great for beginners, really.
Alright, so you found like it was good, but it was more. If you was more of a hardcore gamer, would you not enjoy it?
Not so much, no. But there is still fun there if you're a Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah, I suppose so. Hey, about Callum. Callum, have you had any MMO or PC game related funs or experiences this week?
Well, lately I've been playing Dragon's Dogma, which isn't quite an MMO as what people would think it is. It claims it's an MMO, but mainly it's more concentrated on the PvE audience of people who like MMOs.
Oh, have you had any fun experiences on it? Like any glitches or just minutes, parts you just think and go, oh, that's pretty damn funny.
Well, it claims to be open world, so if you stagger... Well, it is completely open world, but the problem is there are leveling areas that can be incredibly out of your league. So if you decide, oh, I'm just going to go off this path here, and you could get crushed by a level 200 monster when you're like in the tutorial stage.
That doesn't sound that fun.
No, it really isn't.
How about you, Zazar? Have you had any MMO experiences? We all know that you like your MMOs.
I like my MMOs, yeah. I've this week I've been primarily playing The Secret World. It was the last beta weekend for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Anything happen on there? Anything that people should look out for?
yeah, actually, what I've been in most of the beta weekends up until this point, and I haven't really been very impressed by that game. For many reasons, but I sort of changed my mind a little bit in the fourth one as I was able to progress a bit further into the game and really sort of understand the system in it.
Right,
so, yeah.
So let's have one thing. Buy or leave?
I've already bought it, so I don't really have a choice. I can't really go as far as to tell people to buy it because it's so expensive and it's like monthly charged and microtransactions, which is something I hate. It's not a bad game, but yeah, it needs some work on it still.
Since you were talking about microtransactions, we've got another point to that. Microtransaction prices, they've gone up quite a lot, haven't they? Yeah, Jerry, have you got what to say about that? I think they've gone up dramatically. I think the prices are stupid what you have to pay these days.
Yeah, I've noticed there's been increasing prices. But I think that's because people are happy to pay these more expensive store prices for less than what we used to get. If people are going to keep on buying them, then companies are going to keep on increasing prices, and it's stupid, really.
I suppose so, but some of these things that you get are just too overpowered for most characters. Like, you get the in-game store items, and then you get the out-of-game items, and the out-of-game items are so overpowered that anyone who even goes up against any of the out-of-game items just gets killed instantly in most cases, don't they?
Yeah, it just adds an unfair advantage to those. Adds a more of a poorer, richer divide between players, and it can get pretty unbalanced if you're not careful.
I don't mind usually if it's a free-to-play game, but yeah, pay-to-play games adding mini-game out-of-game transactions, kind of stupid in my opinion. What about you, Callum? Have you got any thoughts to do with the out-of-game, in-game mini-transaction purchases?
Well, no, the main thing I've got is how it unbalances the entire game for people who don't want to pay the money. I mean, there's the recent Battlefield 3 Premium Pack, which gives you weapons and upgrades, and then I've seen they've recently put up saying, oh, this weekend is double experience for the premium members, and it just makes you think, why should I bother if I'm not willing to pay the money? Why bother playing the game when these people are just getting the stuff handed to them when I'm having to work for it?
Exactly. So yeah, it's just silly. Why can't they just all work for it and just leave it how it is instead of adding all these things just to grind more money out of people? Oh,
It's like it should be, you know, those whole microtransaction thing. It should be to the way I see it, the perfect system would be if it helps people that doesn't have a lot of time to play to catch up, but not give them an advantage.
exactly.
That's where it
And
should
to-
be on. That's the level.
And to add to that, it could be also, you could earn the currency that they use for that in-game. Like, I don't know, every million gold coins would be $1 of currency to use in the store. It'd balance it out for those people who play it a lot more and put in the time and effort but don't want to pay,
Yeah.
to the people who put in the money to get there without the time.
There's a lot of games that do, like APB. Jerry, we've been playing that recently. Have you noticed in the in-game store, you have price of the item in like coin in-game money, and then you have the price of the item using whatever it is, cash, dollars, or whatever, like actual money.
Yeah, they've got their own little in-game store, which, I mean, as you've already noticed, I've been playing it on the free basis, that there is a huge divide between players and different factions where you got like really overpowered groups and like with types of body armor, and unless you're going to pay for like special guns or bullets or whatnot, you got no chance. It's kind of ridiculous on that.
Yeah, but to be honest, we haven't found that much of a like divide. We've still been able to kill people, I would say, in funny and hilarious ways.
But only when we've been together, 2-on-1, but when it's 1v1, it's very hard. Well, it is for me, but I'm crap at the game anyway, but...
Yeah, oh God. Yeah, but what I've been playing recently is, I've been playing a lot more WoW recently. Do you know, it's like of a summer game, and I was getting to thinking, well, like Cataclysm, that had a lack of end game content. Has anyone had like experience of that? I found at the end of like Cataclysm, you just sat there and you went, really? That's it? Jerry, have you had lack of end game content these days?
I did the Old Republic. I got that on day of release, and when I got to the end of one of the storyline characters, there's just nothing there except for just my endless PvP. Just one game mode. It was really boring, mindless, and there's nothing to do at the end of it. You know,
God, it's stupid when they do that. The end game content PvP. Why, like DC Universe Online, that had terrible end game content. You sat there and you thought, oh, I finished the game. Well,
Can I like change that question a tad? Like, have any of you played any game for the previous 5 years that has released with endgame content?
DC Universe Online, yeah, that released with end game content.
Okay, I didn't play that one. That must be one of the few then, because like that's one of the big mistakes they've done. Pretty much all the AAAs that has come out for the foreseeable past, they haven't had any endgame, and personally, I think that's one of the reasons they all fail. Because, you know, people play it for a month and jump to the next one because there's nothing to do. And once the game starts losing subscribers, it really never goes back up again unless there's like a huge change in payment model or something like that.
Or it becomes free to play.
Yep.
Like you saw that in DC as well. How about you, Callum? End game content thoughts, MMOs?
I honestly can say I've never really put in the time and effort to complete an MMO to the end of the stories. I get too distracted over the side quests.
But yeah, so in that point, would you say that you don't find yourself motivated to get to the end game in a lot of these MMOs?
Yeah, I feel like I've played World of Warcraft, and obviously I've got to level 60, 70, and it's got to the point where a lot of the quests just seem incredibly repetitive, and that no matter how many bosses I defeat or how many quests I do, it just seems like an unending chain.
Oh, exactly. It's even worse when they don't like feel the point to motivate you to actually beat the game. Like there's nothing at the end of the rainbow, what you would say, wouldn't you?
what they could sorry to put it in, but what they could do for like some games is have like a new game plus, so you can like relive the same story with character, but obviously you keep all your items you've got against hard, more difficult enemies for the same game.
Yeah, they're doing that in a lot of games nowadays. Like this Secret World, for instance, it doesn't really have an end game as much as it has 3 difficulty levels for all the instances on the way to the end game, so to say. But it's pretty linear to begin with, so...
Well, that sounds pretty good then. So it has got a plus point then to playing The secret world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about like forced multiplayer these days? Like I was just saying about getting a bit like other characters getting so over leveled compared to you that they beat you instantly. Don't you think that we should be able to go into a little single player instance and like get items by ourselves, gain some XP by ourselves without thinking that we're just going to get like killed if we walk out into the open world? Like Guild Wars 2 has its own little single player if you fancy going off on your own for a bit. What do you think about that, Jez? Your new name's Jez. How do you feel?
About the name Jez or about the question?
we'll go with Jez first. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
Your name?
Yeah, it's a crap name. But back to the subject now. The option for like single player, I think it can be abused. There needs to be a limit because if you're going to go off single player, then you can use it to your heart's content, avoiding all the dangers of the multiplayer with the PvP and that. So I can understand it. Like I say, if you've got a problem with the internet and then you can't use the internet, then you can't play the game. But I think there should be like a daily limit of how many hours you can play single player to balance it out.
All right then. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Like a little balancing system, and maybe there should be certain items that you can only get while doing the multiplayer version of it. You can only get like special, like in WoW, purple items. And like,
or an increase in XP on multiplayer compared to single player.
Yeah,
exactly. You get less XP.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fair. What do you think about that, Callum?
I'm just thinking about the whole in World of Warcraft when you entered the arena, there'd be a limit to the arena that you get entered into as to what level you are. So it'd be like 40 to 50 or 50 to 60, and that does balance out the whole. If you get like so. You can't have like a level 50 versus a level 20. You know, the amount of content that you get would be equal. However, then it'd limit as to how many people are at what level playing the game.
That sounds pretty good. It's pretty fair. Yeah, that sounds alright. How about you? Have you got out to either add on to them or are you
actually, I'm a little bit, again, on the other side of that because I'm really feeling that many MMOs lately have been focusing too much on single player or instancing things. It's like with the Star Wars recently, it was very much single-player content, naturally because of all the story, but did anybody play Champions Online?
I played that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a massively online single-player, basically, in my opinion at least. Because like you never did anything that required a group or not even required a group, but you barely saw people, and if you saw them, you couldn't really interact with them in a meaningful way. And I'm afraid that they are just instancing and making everything so single player that there's really no point in having it online to begin with. You just have like a chat lobby and an offline client.
Jerry, you played Star Wars The Old Republic more than me. Did that experience like relate to anything you've had?
Sorry, say that again.
The Star Wars The Old Republic, do you find that it was more single player based than actual multiplayer?
Yeah, I mean the game focused heavily on the storylines for each character. The only times you would interact with other players was for like instances like special like flashpoints, as the game called it, like that attracted different like little side quests, basically raids. That was the only time you'd go in multiplayer.
And by that time people were, I'm sorry for interrupting, but by that time people were so used to the single player that it was hardly possible to get a group for anything in that game to begin with only 4 people groups nonetheless.
Yeah, and it took ages to find another person to join your group if you did want to do one of those flashpoints.
Right. It was hard enough even at late game, and not to mention the like during leveling, once the initial 2 or 3 weeks where everyone was in the low level areas had passed.
All right, and the last and final point, which I'm just going to leave this open. I'm going to leave this open to everyone, so I'm not going to give you all Q points. I just want to have you see a little banter going on with this one. Dynamic events in MMORPGs, basically. Like, do you think stuff should happen at certain points? Like, I don't want it all to be scripted. I don't want, like, things to come out at certain times and to happen at certain times. I want it to be dynamic, like things happen at random intervals, and you can never tell what's around the next corner. All right, let's go. Take this one to the floor.
I think okay. That was a good start. Go ahead, Carl.
Well, I was on the type of dynamic events. I was thinking if a obviously with the Horde and Alliance in World of Warcraft as an example, they could have once a day, maybe at a certain time, when undead, not the Horde or Alliance, attack each other, but undead lay siege to one of the cities, and then it calls on players to defend it. So then there's PvE fighting throughout the cities, but it doesn't require the amount of PvP cooperation that you would normally not have as much in most of these events that they try and organise.
Ah, cool. So like basically like random city destruction, like when Stormwind, like people just rush Stormwind and randomly attack it, and you don't know which city is going to happen or where it's going to happen or what time it's going to happen, stuff like that. You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, I think.
That would actually be cool because that they could with the NPCs, the game could actually control attack points as opposed to when you have that in PvP. Everyone will just zerg up and attack one point all the time, you know?
Mm.
And it also adds more longevity to the game, I believe.
Oh my god.
Google.
You Googled that just before we started this. We already knew. You didn't even believe it was a real word. Oh my god, you can't use words that you get from us. Zazar, we're not telling him any words anymore. He must learn his own.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I mean, it adds more variety to the game, you know, makes it different from the usual routine where you do the same thing all the time. It can get boring, repetitive, but if something sparks up, you know, get you interested, and you can make new friends with other players doing it. So it's all for the good, that is. I can't see any negatives to it.
Yeah, dynamic events, like a lot of games that do it these days, and it's mainly the Japanese MMOs that do it these days. Did you guys ever play Arcade Online yet, or anything like that?
Yeah, that's only
I haven't tried that one yet.
beta, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Japanese beta. You have to be able to like
So
click.
it's Korean, I believe.
Yeah, they're both the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you can't get into the beta without being there or having like some tunnel to Asia to get it.
Yeah, there was
Yeah, I'm still trying to get into that Dragon Ball Online, but that's still in beta over there.
the arcades look really good though, really dynamic. But I played Vindictus as well, but that had dynamic events, but it was just an awful game.
First one I played with dynamic events, I think that I remember, is Warhammer Online.
I never played that.
That had some rudimentary dynamic events where you were leveling, and then there was like these circles on the map, and when enough people were in there or based on a certain timer or whatever, something would happen, and there was stages to like a group quest. But it could fail if you didn't do it, but it didn't really calculate the amount of people needed very well, as opposed to, for instance, like how Guild Wars 2 is doing it, where it's more or less the same system. There's these dynamic events going on all over the place. There's actually no real quests in Guild Wars 2. There's just these events all over the place. You just go from event to event. You just drop into one as you run around on the map.
I really can't wait for Guild Wars 2 just because of that. Like, I'm thinking a lot of the Zucreta and Mo team. Is everyone getting Guild Wars 2?
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
Zazar?
Yeah.
Look into it.
I've been in the beta for a while already.
Alright, cool, yeah. We'll probably get some content over on our channel then if we want. Get some leveling guides and stuff.
What was the release date of that again?
They just sent it out today, actually.
Really?
Do you want to Google it before we finish up?
Yeah, might as well let the masses know.
Yeah, allow the masses to know the Guild Wars release date. Who's got it? I think that's Jerry.
That's me, yeah.
But yeah, we'll get some content over here on Guild Wars 2, I guess. Like
On
we'll get
28th.
August 28th,
28th of August, yeah.
Jerry, your internet's terrible.
No, I was just about to say it, but he put me off. I was being well mad, didn't let him speak.
I had it on a mail from them, so...
Yeah, so we'll try and get some group leveling done and put it over on the channel, I guess. You know, I'll get that uploaded as soon as possible, as soon as it comes out. All right, guys.
It's a cool game.
It does look really good, and I enjoyed Guild Wars 1, and I'm guessing I'll enjoy Guild Wars 2. It's not the type of game like WoW when I don't think they're in it as much for the money, just for the content alone would be pretty cool.
And
They
I'm
have
sure we get
actually...
that.
Oh, sorry.
I think Guild Wars 2 is going to be a very successful MMO due to the fact that it's going to be free to play after you buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was actually going to jump onto that as well, because they have, there's a difference between pay to play and pay to win, as many games do. And Guild Wars 2 has specifically said that their system is not going to be pay to win. They've had like a dev chat where that's been stated quite clearly, and they have a system in there that more or less what you were talking about before, where people can exchange their in-game currency for a sort of in-game / global currency that you can use like on auctions and whatever, sort of like in Diablo, that auction house thing they were planning on.
That sounds really good. All right.
That's something I was wanting to mention. I personally haven't played Diablo 2, but do you guys have any more experience in the whole being able to sell in-game items for real-world money?
It came out recently that in one of the latest patches, didn't it? I can't remember. Jerry, you played Diablo more than I did on Diablo 3, aren't you?
No.
Damn it, Jazar, have you played it, or am I going to have to take this?
I played it, and then I got into the I played it, and I got into the beta for Torchlight 2, and then I just stopped playing Diablo because I thought Torchlight was much cooler.
Yeah, Diablo 3, they have got it in now, but it's the point of, like, Diablo 3 just gets repetitive and boring after a while.
Very.
Each dungeon you go through has the exact same layout as the other one. It's like, it's not... Guild Wars Diablo 2 was a great game, but then Diablo 3 they kind of let it down because they changed so much and, again, so little. Like, they took out some of the things that made Diablo a great game, and then they put in random stuff that doesn't need to be there.
To be honest, Torchlight 2 is more of a true Diablo 3 than Diablo 3 is, in my opinion. It's more similar to the old Diablo games than Diablo 3 is.
But yeah, it's just not. It's a bad game, but it was overhyped, and the in-game buying system, I just didn't see the need for it to be there, where people can exchange real money for other people's items. It just tried to make its own little currency, basically, and its own little financial stability or whatever.
It sounds like one of those things where they added it in thinking, and then everyone would think, oh my god, it's this massive thing. Oh, I can have a career on Diablo 3 and I won't have to go to work because I can sell all the items that I'll be doing because I'll be playing it constantly. But then when it came out, it turned out it wasn't quite as successful as we would have liked.
Yeah, exactly. Think of... did anyone see Dragon Ball Evolution?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Evolution?
Yeah.
Don't remind me.
Right,
I'm trying to wipe it from memory.
Think of that, right? Do you know when you heard that came out, you was like, oh my god, this is going to be awesome, a Dragon Ball movie, and then you saw it and you walked out 5 minutes within it.
Is the whole movie like some guy charging a Dragon Ball and then you wait for the sequel for him to release it, or is it different from the series?
You sit there and you watch it and you get up to the part when he's in the school and then someone starts bullying him and you think, all right, 1 second, none of this ever happened. See you later, I'm off. Give him money back.
Goku never went to school.
But even if he did go to school, I wouldn't have seen Goku getting bullied. Goku picked up a car and slapped it against someone.
Yeah. And he'd walk around slapping everybody's genitals like he does in the series.
Should we get back on MMOs, perhaps?
Well, I think
now we drifted over to genitals. Now then we should turn it back.
All right. Basically, yeah, that is the end of this podcast. We'll be thinking of subjects for next week. Put a little comment in the little section below, asking us, telling you what you want.
Suggestions.
Suggestions. There we go. As I said, suggestions. And obviously, his videos mean law. They are 40 minutes long, guys. They're a long video, so whatever he says goes. All right, Jerry, you got to say, you can say bye, or do you want to say anything before we go?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and please click like and subscribe if you haven't already.
And our non-YouTubing partner here, Callum, got all to say?
Yeah, first video, so hope you all enjoy it, and like and subscribe.
Ooh. And Zazar, you can have the last word.
Bye-bye.
Bye.